So this whole situation with the Derek Moneyberg thing has been interesting. I feel like the guy's like the savior of jiu-jitsu, trying to unite us all, because usually jiu-jitsu is splintered up, it's broken up, and we're all at each other's throats. There's like the sport versus the street / self-defense community. There's, gi versus no gi, all that stuff. But everybody collectively dislikes the whole celebrity fake black belt thing going on with Derek Moneyberg, and then you start seeing, now like a lot of the guys that were sort of, behind his camp in the beginning, now they're starting to backtrack a little bit. Like Mikey Musumeci was saying, I wouldn't have given him a black belt and he doesn't roll or whatever. And then I think, what did Gordon Ryan say on the Joe Rogan show? He said something like, he's trying to, it's like, you're like trying to say he's not great, but he would beat up some random black belt in Kentucky, which we're in Kentucky, and I got a whole line of black belts up there that I think would eat his lunch. But, nonetheless, jiu-jitsu as a whole is kind of not like that whole situation. That said, I did a video about this very early on when it happened. And, when I do my videos, guys, I'm just letting you know, I'm trying to not become the internet, because I know I could just come out here, say a bunch of crazy shit and get lots of views and piss people off. And that's not really my goal. I don't like that stuff. I don't watch that stuff. My whole thing is to get you to think a little bit differently with things, right? So yeah, do I think Derek Moneyberg is not a real black? Of course I don't think he's a real black belt. He doesn't have that kind of skill, right? He's just, whatever, But that said, in the previous video, I sort of broke up my idea of a black belt. And I asked you to even think about it. What does it mean to be a real black belt? Because if you're going to make this assumption that this person is not something, well, then what does it mean to be the real something, right? That said, in that video that I did way back when this whole thing started, several people called me out. And they said, Chewy, you're getting this all wrong. You should be angry at the coaches who are giving out the fake black belts. They are the problem, right? Not this guy throwing out money. And so I wanted to address that issue. Like, are the coaches of the fake black belts or the celebrity black belts, are they the problem? They're part of it, right? But why didn't I call them out so harshly, right? Well, I'll give you an idea as to why. Years ago, this is an example. I've got lots of these examples, but this is an example. Years ago, when I was a brown belt, I was getting ready to get my black belt. At this point, all the coaches sort of knew. My head coaches were giving me extra stripes on my belt, because they're like, bro, you need to get your black belt. Next promotion ceremony, you're getting it, whatever. We all just knew it was happening. Well, during this period, I was doing a private lesson with a blue belt. This blue belt was a business guy, and he came up to me one day. He said, hey, man, what are you going to do when you get your black belt? And I told him, I was like, man, I guess I'll be doing the same thing I do here. I was like, I like teaching these guys. My buddy owns the gym, and I'd like to support him, because I wasn't the owner at the time. And I want to support to grow these guys that I've been developing, and I want to help this gym grow. And he said, okay. He's like, well, have you ever thought about developing your own program, opening up your own gym? It'll be yours. You can have your own money, all this stuff, right? And he started to play out this grand idea about all the money I could make and this whole thing, right? Just trying to sell me on this idea, and it seemed a little too good to be true. So, and also too, it seemed a little bit out of line with my own personal integrity to screw over my students, take my students, screw my buddy over, and just leave this gym high and dry. I was like, I don't think so, bro. That said, he did get one of our brown belts. And one of our other brown belts that was here at the time didn't like his job, just wasn't enjoying that whole thing. And here comes this blue belt. Oh, I got look at this big grand idea, and I'll make it happen for you. Come over here to this gym, let's start a gym together, this whole thing. And he just seemed very disingenuous, but nonetheless, my friend, the brown belt, did it. He went with the guy. Now, this gym was open for about a year, a little less than a year. The gym closed down. After the gym closed down, the brown belt, I was like, yeah, man, why don't you come back? This is home for you. You started with this. This is where you belong. Like, it's all water under the bridge, bro. Fuck it. Let's get back in here and let's train. And so he came back in. He has since become a, black belt with us, and he's a good dude. The blue belt, though, I did not give him an invitation back. No, you don't get to come back, because I saw him as sort of like a predatory little guy with money. He's like, I want this to happen, so therefore I don't care who I screw over. I'm just gonna get you guys to do this. And I've been offered money for belts, belt promotions for money. I choose not to do it. Guys have left and then gotten belts elsewhere in a couple months after I refused it, right? I don't know the coach's situation, but I've seen it happen before. And so the way that I look at it is this. With the coaches that give out fake black belts, celebrity black belts, if you will, I call them celebrity because they're not fake. I mean, they are a black belt technically now, but it's like the celebrity black belt, the ones where you're not rolling, you're not really training, you're not one of us, you're not on the mats. You can have this, go have your honorary black belt, like you've got an honorary degree, but you're not the real thing, okay? When people give out those, I feel bad for them, because I know in jiu-jitsu, There's this general collective idea that we laugh at people in other martial arts that are just handing belts out. Belt factories, right? We laugh at them. We make fun of them. It's something as a coach, I don't know. I never wanted to be one of those guys. And so as a coach, when you get to that point, if you're starting to hand out black belts everywhere else for money, it makes me feel a certain level of pity for you because you probably had to sell out your integrity to some degree because you needed money. Maybe when you were younger, wasn't a big deal, but now maybe you got kids you got to feed. You got a lifestyle you're trying to fund. Maybe you were a fighter and you didn't save any money and then all of a sudden you're broke and here comes a guy who's got money. He's like, here, let me throw some money at you and give me a belt. Now, of course, it's not how the arrangement happens. A lot of times it's sort of like unspoken. You sort of lay out hints and clues that you're looking for a belt, whatever. But nonetheless, they do this. And again, I feel bad for them because I don't know why, but my analogy or my sort of parallel to it is like a prostitute, right? And I mean like a woman or a man, I imagine, when they're a young boy or young girl, and they're thinking with this sort of dreamy hope that they have as a kid, I don't imagine that they're looking up and thinking, you know what, someday I'd like to be a prostitute. And I'd like to sell my integrity and my bodily being for whatever money I can. But you know what happens? At some point, they're in a bad situation, and they look around and they're like, I guess this is all I got. For me, and I've talked about this with other people, when they're talking about the fake black belt stuff, celebrity black belt stuff, everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a price, right? I don't know what my price is. It would be pretty high because of the fact that as I got into jiu-jitsu, I learned how to actually run a business, which is really important because you guys may think this, but like running the classes, that's like a 10, 20% of the business part of it. Everything else to make this thing run is so much different and nobody ever sees it, right? But I studied that stuff, got better at it to make this thing work. So I don't need that kind of money. I don't need belt money. But if I was in a situation where my son was hungry and my wife was hungry and we were in need and some, goofball came around with some money and was like trying to get a belt, I'd be hard up to say no to it, So I don't know the situation those people are in. And I just, somewhere in me, this could be the worst take ever. But I just sort of feel a sense of pity for him. Because at some point you were this guy that probably laughed at people handing out belts. And then you sold out somewhere along the way and you became the guy handing out belts, right? Now, again, you can think whatever you wish, but that's the reason why I don't get as angry about the people handing out the belts. I tend to feel a little bit more pity for them, and I feel a lot more sort of dislike for the people coming into the thing with just sort of this, I want to be this belt or whatever. And the reason being is because of the experiences that I've had with people that come in with money sometimes, and they're not here to be one of us. They're not here to learn the skill and to become one of the bros on the mats, right? They're not coming in to develop that sort of situation, that skill, that they're not there to challenge themselves. They're there merely because they want to like sort of check something off the box, and they're like, well, I'm just going to pay you lots of money for it. Right? That's it. That's why. So anyway, that is my idea. You can completely disagree with it. You can throw your comments down below, but that's my thoughts on it. Talk to you guys next time.